I don't know. You don't really want to invest for a new person starting, like spending over $20K in a mastermind. You're like, what? Like, it's so vague. Like, all the masterminds that are out there, it's just like, all I know is I want to be around these group of people, and I'll pay the money to do it, right?
Yep.
And I think people don't realize that, like, what do I get? What do I get? Like, how, it's not like, I don't know. It's just, after doing that, it's like, oh, now it's like, we'll do sub 2. Like, now it's like, we've probably spent over 100K this year on masterminds between the two of us. And
but what was the biggest thing, like, after you guys joined Investor Fuel?
So no, I just did a $1 million meeting with Investor Fuel, but I was like, this is out there. And then that was in the fall of 2019, and then 2020 we worked together for maybe 6 months, and then June, I remember it specifically because now I live in DC. I moved there June 14th of 2020. But Tim Bratz was like, hey, I'm going to make $1 million in a month. I'm doing this mastermind, and we joined it. And then it was just being in a room where people are doing like 10 times what you're doing, and everyone's so humble. Like, no one, like, they know, they've been around the block a couple times. Like, if you're a dick or you're like arrogant, like, who wants to work with you, you know?
Right.
So it's just extremely humbling. And it's just like, we need to go way harder. We did commercial deals after that as well, but
there was something, because you guys were doing single family, right?
Yeah.
When you guys first partnered up, and within like 6 to 9 months, you guys transitioned away from single family.
No, we just did one deal, 140 unit that my partner bought us out, and I put that money into crypto. But
we had 68 units under contract in Kentucky. Just so it was like a stint where we were like, this is awesome. This is what we want to do. It's 40 units that we ended up closing on. 68 that went under contract that we never executed on. But like, I think one of the biggest things about the mastermind, this kind of really backtracking, is it really shaped what we do now. Because we're talking to people that are doing 100, 200, even 250 flips a year. And I'm like, how are you doing this? How do you have the time to do it? They're like, well, run me through your day. And this is a really powerful conversation I had with a gentleman. He's like, yeah, everything you're doing is a $4 an hour task. That's how you don't have any time. You need to outsource these tasks, and then you're going to have time for revenue generating activities. And that was like a light bulb went off. It's like, it seems so simple to hear it from somebody.
Right.
But when you're in the trenches, you're like, I have to be in control of everything, and I have to be the one executing these documents. It's hard to see, I think.
And then did you join Tim's mastermind first or Mark Evans's first?
Tim's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tim's, and then Mark's, and then I'm in Arte Syndicate.
So how did you originally connect with Tim?
Facebook.
Yeah. And then you see him, you're following him. He posts like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Would you be interested? And you go through that whole.
Yeah, he is like, he has. So he moved to Charleston. He's from Cleveland, Ohio, and then he moved to Charleston, and he went to an event, and I was like standing behind him. I was sitting behind him, and I was like scared to say hi to him. Like, this.
He's like the nicest guy.
Yeah, he is.
It was just an awkward room. Like, you've been in those rooms where everyone's sitting down, no one's talking, everyone's on their phone, and you're like, I'm like, that's Tim, and at that point I was like, that's Tim. And then I had reached out to him prior to seeing him, and he was like, he just kind of blew me off or whatever. Like, I get it, you're busy, and he's like, he's Tim, and I reached out to him, and then he's like, yeah, let's hop on the phone, and then he's like, yeah, you need to be doing $1 million in revenue. You just need to be a fun person, and like, there's another thing. And then we like talked for like maybe 15 minutes. I sent him the wire, and then like that was maybe in April, and then in June was the first event at his beach house, and it was like, I mean, there's the Butler brothers. You had Sean Roke in here. They had, in their early 30s, had a $4 million exit in a roofing business. You got Tiffany I, who's a big deal. She's out here. She's been here. Chris Kelly has done a ton of flips. Like, kills the PPC game. A bunch of entrepreneurs in the room. You're like, okay, this is like. I remember being scared to speak and like say what we were doing. Like, is that humbling? And yeah, it just makes you think bigger. I don't. Right. You want to fit into that room, Yeah,
it forces you to step up.
Yes.
So what were some of the tactical things you did? Like, you go in here learning from these guys, but learning is not enough. You wouldn't be successful. You guys were only learning. What were the things you were applying from learning in Tim's mastermind?
It's hard to pick just a few because again, it really, really shaped our business. One of the first things that we did, though, was we stopped doing in-person seller appointments.
Yeah.
And that opened up a lot of time because I was spending 2, 3, 4 hours a day going to these folks' homes to potentially get an offer, a contract or not. And it was just like, can we do this virtually? I guess we can. But really then COVID forced us to do that.
Yeah.
And we found out that we didn't take any dip in our business. It actually accelerated it because I wasn't spending those hours going to and from the appointments. We were able to then take that time and double down on acquisitions.
Yeah, we just went harder. Like it just forced us to double down on what we were doing.
Yeah.
And also got smarter too. Like we were just spending buku's amounts of dollars in marketing undirected. Had no idea who we were targeting, why we were targeting them, and what the purpose was. And that became much more refined of who our avatar was as far as the ideal motivated seller that we were going to target.
Got it.
And it like once you invest that much money into yourself, you're like, oh, this person is doing a $2,500 mastermind. Let's do that. Like, oh, and like you just pick up bits and pieces along the way. You know, it could be a little like our cold caller started making offers. You know, I don't even know where we got that from, but like that was huge. You know, putting the CRM in, that was huge. We didn't have a CRM before that event, so
good old Google spreadsheets, baby.
It's just like you just pick up little pieces and then it just compounds with all the other stuff you're doing. So
right.